Hey guys, it's Julie Melillo. I'm a life coach here in Manhattan. Let's talk today about some tips on taking criticism. A lot of people hate criticism. I mean, really, who likes it? I don't think most people really enjoy being criticized, but when criticism is constructive, it can be super, super helpful and useful to you. It can also just be mean bullying that can be meant to tear you down. So, how do you tell the difference and how do you let in the good, constructive, useful feedback that you need in order to reach your goals, improve, without allowing mean bullying to tear you down and to stop you? Okay, so here are some tips, and practice really makes perfect. So, the good thing is that when you put yourself out there in whatever it is that you do, you have an opportunity to practice getting criticism and thinking about it differently. So, like, that's really the key for criticism is how you're thinking about it. Because if you're using it in a constructive way, anything that's not constructive is really not going to it's just not going to really matter. It's not going to like apply to you. And then anything that is constructive, you can make a decision about it. So this is the process that I like to use with my clients and all of that, and also just for myself. I've always done stuff in my life where you can get a lot of criticism. And I think that was actually a really, really good thing for me to put myself in those situations because it did like teach me some ways to like cope with this because I think a lot of people they just give up. They don't like that feeling of being criticized, and then that's a sad thing because what if someone is really amazing at something but they don't develop themselves and develop their talent because they get kind of shut down by that criticism. So for me, like in high school and college, I did acting, which you're constantly getting constructive feedback from like the directors who are basically like, I don't like the way you said that. I don't like the way you did this. I didn't like the way you stood. And you have to be able to take that criticism because otherwise the play is going to suck or whatever project you're working on is going to suck. So you have to learn to separate yourself from that feedback. Then, when I was in college, I was an art major for a semester. And one thing that you do when you're an art major is when you draw something or paint something, you put all your work up on the wall. And then, like, all the students and the teacher, so it's like sometimes it's like up to 60 students, stand around and just criticize your work one at a time. You just go around. And not all these people know how to give constructive criticism or to say things in a way that's like less less critical. So I think those were good experiences for me. And then I was a writer. So, when you're writing for a business, that's your job, and they have to give you criticism on anything that they think could be improved or if they need it a little bit different or whatever. Then I was a freelance writer. So I've like pretty much always been in fields where it's important to like listen to people's feedback, right? Um and of course being a life coach now, I mean it's just a constant, give and take with my clients to make sure that what I'm doing is working, and if it's not, I need to tweak something. So obviously I need to be extremely open to my clients or else it's not going to work, okay? So these are some things that I've learned that really, really help. So this is my process. Number one, you have to take a step back. Because when someone criticizes you, whether it's constructive or not, it can sting. And depending on how insecure you are as a person or insecure you are that day, maybe you're having a bad hair day, who knows? Sometimes we're just a little grumpy. Regardless, it can just be like, wait, what? Okay, and that's the point where you have to take a big step back and you can't let your emotions drive the bus here. It's not that your emotions aren't important, but they're not going to help in this situation. So it really helps to take a big step back. And the very first thing that I do is try to really understand what this person is saying. Instead of getting all caught up in your ego and telling yourself this whole monologue and, oh no, they're wrong and they don't understand my vision, that's not going to help anything. You need to just step back and wrap your head around what this person is trying to say. So think of yourself like a secretary who is writing down a message. Someone calls, they're leaving a message for your boss. All you have to do is write the message down. So the second step, you're just trying to get the message and actually get it. Because at this point, a lot of people just block it out. They don't take that step back and they don't get the message. So they hear criticism, whether it's constructive or not, and they just put this wall up immediately, and then they think, okay, this hurts, so you're wrong and you're an idiot. You don't understand my vision. I'm an artist. Don't you understand that I'm an artist and you're just an idiot and your work all sucks? And the problem with that is that nothing is getting in. So you can't improve without feedback. Feedback is an amazing thing because it's a dynamic, real-time thing that helps you make sure what you're doing in the world is evolving. Otherwise, we would all be wearing bell-bottoms right now. If nothing evolved, we wouldn't even have cell phones. Like, life is about evolution, and you can choose to be a part of that by having that dynamic feedback with people, or you can wall yourself off and keep wearing your bell-bottoms. And how cool does that look? I personally just hate bell-bottoms. I'm just like hoping they never come back in style. Every now and again they try to come back. I'm like, please, no. That's a separate issue. Okay. So number 1, big step back. Take a step back, guys. Just like, remember, what this person is saying is not an attack on who you are as a person. They're just telling you some information. That's all it is information. You have to separate out the fact that this person is giving you information from like who you are as a person, who you are on the inside, your ego, your self-image. You have to be strong in yourself and develop that confidence. That's something that we can do in coaching, is making sure you have a good sense of who you are, your values, what you're about, what you're not about, so that you feel secure. You don't feel shaky and like, oh, someone told me this, so I'm high, but someone told me that, so I'm low. And you're always like, when you know who you really are, you're going to stand strong regardless. It might still like sting sometimes when someone gives you criticism, but it's not going to like destroy your whole self-identity when you have that confidence that's coming from within. So step back is number 1. Number 2 is just get the message. Think of yourself like a secretary. You're just writing down the message. You're just literally trying to understand the words that this person is saying. So if you put all of your attention on that, it will help to take your mind away from any kind of ego stuff, any kind of weird cycles you're in, any kind of low confidence, insecurity, weird stuff you may be doing to protect yourself from feeling bad. Like, a lot of people will attack the person. Well, what do you even know about art? I mean, just because you don't like the color pink, well, you just don't like unicorns. Have you ever painted a painting? Do you this whole thing, like, people are just putting up a wall because they're not strong enough to get the message. So number 2 is just get the message, write it down, and use all of your brain power. Like, think of it like someone's going to give you a quiz on what did this person just tell you, and you're going to have to be able to word for word say it back and also understand the meaning. The meaning. It's not just enough to memorize the words. You want to understand the meaning. So use your brain power at that point to get your head around what they're saying. Now, number 3, you can actually quiz yourself. Did you understand what they said? Sometimes we think we understood what someone said and we really don't. So number 3, you're going to want to say it back. You're going to want to say to the person who gave you the criticism, okay, so is what you're telling me blah, 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 blah. You like this, you don't like this you think should be changed. Is that what you're saying? Now, this does two things. It number one, make sure that you actually understood the message. You didn't just jump to a wrong conclusion. You didn't let that message be obscured by any kind of insecurity or anything in your own mind. Maybe you think, oh, I always use the wrong colors in my paintings and they're going to probably tell me there's too much green. So then they say something about the colors and you just jump to, oh, it must be too much green. When you say it back to them, they have an opportunity to say, oh no, it's not about the green. Actually, it's about the purple or whatever. They're able to clear it up. And the other great thing about this is your brain is so focused on saying back to them what they said and getting the message correct that you don't have very much time and energy to obsess about all those insecurities and all those monsters in your closet of, oh, I always use too much green. It's so awful. No one ever likes my paintings because they're just everything's lime green. They're so green. It's so horrible. I just can't use any of that. You're going to be able to pull yourself out of your victim story because you're focused on the moment and understanding. Okay, so what you told me is this, you like this, you don't like this, blah, 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 you think that. And then they're going to tell you yes or no. If they tell you yes, you're good to go. If they tell you no, you redo this step until you get it. So if they tell you no, then you say, well, okay, what did I not understand? Remember, you're taking a message for your boss. You're the secretary, I just want to get the message right. Was this your message? Was that your message? And then you get that message down. And next, take another step back. Because when you take in the message, you might not like it. You might not agree with it. It might make you feel bad. But if you want to be open to improving, you need to be able to let the message in without it like destroying your confidence. So that's why we take some distance. We separate you from the message. Okay, so it's important to remember that even like the greats, the greatest at whatever field they're in, they still get tons of criticism. If you don't believe me, go to any celebrity. Go to like a top celebrity, look at how many hateful, mean comments they get from random people. Look at how much criticism they get. You know, like top selling musical artists, and people will say, oh man, your song sucks. Okay? So just because someone has that opinion doesn't mean that person actually sucks, but everyone's entitled to an opinion. You're entitled to your opinion, and so are other people. So it's important to like let people have their opinion without thinking that that one opinion is enough to destroy you. It's not. There's different opinions out there. Some people think Justin Bieber is the coolest guy and has the catchiest songs ever. Other people like can't stand him. That really says nothing about him. It says something about the other people and what their taste in music is. If someone loves classical music, they might not like pop music. Who cares? That's their opinion. Let them have their opinion, all right? So taking another step back here is really important. So basically, you took a step back, you got the main message, you confirm that you have that message correct. If you didn't have it correct, you edit it until you have it correct, until the other person says, yes, you understand what I'm saying. Now you've taken another step back, you've separated yourself further. Now that you have the message is the time to thank them, to say thank you. Thank you so much for your opinion, thank you for your input, because it is something to thank someone for. What they tell you could potentially hugely help refine the amazing talent and intelligence and skill that you have, because small tweaks can totally change things in just amazing ways, okay? Like as Tony Robbins says, just shifting your angle by 1% in a golf swing can make the difference between winning the entire golf tournament and not being able to even hit a ball when you go to the driving range. You know, just that tiny little angle difference makes a huge difference when you change it. And this person's giving you information, so that's a helpful thing. Now, this is where we go into analysis mode. This is where we decide by analyzing a lot of different things if this message is helpful, if you should listen to it, if you should take this advice, or If it doesn't apply to you, if it's not helpful, you'll figure that out, but you have to look at this in depth. You have to deeply look at the message. Okay, so first of all, we want to look at who is this person? What is their motivation in telling you? Are they trying to help you, or are they just trying to tear you down and be a bully? This is a very important thing to look at. A lot of people can say a message in a way that maybe it sounds nice, but it's actually just bitchy and mean and designed to tear you down, and it's bullying. Some bullies are very unsophisticated. They're going to say something like, that's stupid, that's ugly, I don't like that. And then you have your sophisticated bullies that are going to say the same thing, but with big words and more socially appropriate behaviors. And it's going to have the same effect on you. It's just going to hurt you. It's not going to help you. So you have to figure out if you actually have criticism that is helpful or useful. Okay, so you have to look at their motivation for telling you this. And to do this, you have to be really objective. Because again, you don't want to just assume that everyone who doesn't like your painting is just out to get you and a mean hater bully. Because then you're just going into victim mode and you're not going to get anywhere with that. And I think you probably want to get somewhere if you're watching this video. You want to be great and amazing at what you do and refine it and improve it. And that's the process. This nitty-gritty process, it's not necessarily fun, but that's how you improve. So you want to look at their motivation, and you want to look at what they actually said. So you want to look at that message that you either wrote down or you clarified with them, and you want to look at a few things here. Is what they said true? Do you think it's true? Are there facts here that you can verify? For example, if they said, I don't like your painting because it doesn't have any purple in it, but there is purple in your painting, then that would not be true. Okay, now you can't figure out if everything is true because some things are subjective versus objective. But you want to look at the objective things and see if they're true. If they say that your painting is a 4-foot canvas and it's actually a 7-inch canvas, that would also not be true. So you want to look at and verify if the objective facts that they said are true. This will tell you a little bit about just if you can trust what they're saying, if they're just off their rocker. And if their motivation is just to be a bully, then they might just yell out some things that make literally no sense. But if what they're saying makes sense, that gives them some credibility there. Okay. Next, you want to look at their subjective opinion and think about what you think about it. Do you agree with it? Do you think it's true what they're saying? And do you think it would be good for you to follow their advice? Now, this is your decision only. No one else can make this decision for you, okay? You have to really look at, well, you know what? They're telling me this, and they're telling me this for a reason. So if I think that this person is trying to help me and I think that they're giving me constructive advice, they're not just a bully who's saying, this is stupid, I hate it. If they're saying, you know what? I really like your painting, but I think you may have used way too much purple. It's just it's too much purple. I'm getting Barney the dinosaur vibes from this. You might want to step back and really ask yourself, do you think there's too much purple in it? Can you understand what they're saying? Can you understand how they see it? Even if you love purple and you want to paint your whole house purple, can you understand that maybe not everyone loves that much purple? Really try to get your head around the message that they're saying. Try to put yourself in their shoes and see it that way. Especially because that doesn't mean that an artist is bad. If they have too much purple, it doesn't mean that you hate their art or you think they're terrible. It just means maybe you'd like to see some other colors sometimes, right? Maybe some orange, maybe some more green. Who knows? So this is the point where you really have to analyze the message and see if you agree with it. You want to see this from a lot of different angles too. Just because you like purple doesn't mean the people buying your paintings like purple, okay? So you have to make decisions here. How much do you want to make this about what you like versus what your customers, clients, audience likes? And that's a balance that really only you can come to. You want to be true to yourself, but you also don't want to just totally annoy your audience, right? If everyone is telling you, man, it's your paintings, I feel like I'm watching an episode of Barney. everything is purple and you're getting this feedback a lot, you might want to consider that, because do you really want people who would be otherwise buying your paintings to feel annoyed like this? And you should take this feedback in. But you might decide, no, everything I do is about purple. I'm going to paint my whole home purple. All my paintings, I'm just going to paint everything purple. And that's just who I am, and that's what I'm going to do. That's your decision. So this is the next step where you make a decision for what is best for you and what is best for others based on this criticism that you've got. And you have to make a sound conclusion. You don't want it to go off of emotion or being annoyed or this person's an idiot, they just don't understand how great purple is. You want to really have thought it through to the point that you feel calm and centered and you can just evaluate the information. And then you make your decision. And next, you're going to make any changes. So maybe you've thought this through and you've decided, you know what? When it comes down to it, I'm here to sell paintings. And I want the people that buy my paintings to be happy with my paintings. And none of them like the fact that there's so much freaking purple. So I'm going to put some green in there. I'm going to put some orange, a little bit of pink. Yeah, I think this is good advice. I'm going to take it. And I think that people are going to be a lot happier with my work. And then I'm going to be more successful. People are going to hang my paintings up. That's going to be really cool. I'm happy with that. Or you might decide, I don't care if everyone hates my painting. My mission in life is just to paint everything purple, whether people like it or not. And that's your choice to decide. Now, there's obviously consequences for what you do, right? And you have to strike a balance between being true to yourself, being, making other people happy, making your customers and clients happy. There's a balance there that only you know what you're comfortable with. But there will always be situations where something is an easy fix. It's, oh, yeah, I can add a little bit of orange in there. That's not even a big deal. And maybe that one little tweak is what makes the difference between selling out art shows all around the country and being one of the best artists the world has known, and like having all your pictures stacked up in the garage and no one even knows who you are. Those little tweaks can make a huge difference. And that's the reason to really say thank you and value any criticism that people are giving you, because it can be an amazing opportunity to improve everything. That said, it can also just be someone who needs attention, someone who's a mean bully, who has no idea what they're talking about, someone who doesn't know anything about art, and they're telling you that you need to change your colors, especially because misery loves company, and sometimes these miserable people just want to bring others down with them. So it's your responsibility to separate that out. Okay, and so your last step is the action you take, any changes that you feel are necessary based on all that thinking. So you see how much thinking there is in this process. If you're doing this right, you're not going to have time to sit there and go into victim mode and worry about yourself and think about how mean this person is for not just thinking that you're 100% perfect. There's not going to be time for that. There's not going to be time for like, oh, I feel so bad because when I was 7, my teacher told me that I used too much purple, and here it's all just coming back again to destroy my life. You're not going to have any time to even think those thoughts. If you're, taking down the message, making sure you understand it, trying to understand how they're seeing it, thanking them for their feedback, trying to see how this fits into your plan and your goals, evaluating this criticism to look for opportunities to make small tweaks or even big tweaks to what you're doing, looking at yourself and your values, looking at what matches, what doesn't, what do you keep, what do you throw out, what do you use, what do you say thank you so much for the feedback and not act on. Okay? Your brain should be ready to explode with how much thinking you're doing about this. And at the end of the day, your goal is that you can take those bits of feedback, like in high school, if I'm doing a play and maybe I'm standing there and I'm just like chewing my cheek or something because I'm bored, and the director's like, we can see you doing that. It looks weird. Don't do that. And I go through that process and I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. I didn't realize anyone was watching me because the other person was talking, but I'm not going to chew on my cheek or twirl my hair or whatever because that looks weird. It takes away from the other person talking. Noted. I'm going to definitely take that in. Thank you. And I'm going to do that, right? There's nowhere in that process for me to be like, he doesn't like my acting. Oh, he thinks I'm bad. Maybe I should just give up and fail and go hide in a hole somewhere. Like, there's no opportunity to do that when you're going through that whole process. And you can use it for everything. Like, I remember when I was in art school for that year, and then I changed my major later on. But I remember I had this painting, and I was like, oh, I was like cringing because I did this painting last minute. I knew it had a lot of issues. It had a lot of problems in this painting. And I remember the teacher basically said there were too many colors going on and it was pretty much clashing. I couldn't have agreed with him more. And it really was helpful to me because the fact that he said it so clearly helped me identify what wasn't working. Now, I went through that whole process and I did determine that he was trying to help me. His feedback was constructive, it made sense. I agreed, yeah, there are too many colors. It was clashing. And I realized like this was something that I wanted to work on to make sure that my next painting was not clashing. Now, of course, you could have a painting that's clashing on purpose and it could actually look pretty amazing if you're doing that for some reason. But it's just kind of ugly, honestly. If you're not doing it for some reason and it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. So I agreed with this, and then I talked to him a bit later about like some things I could do, different ways that I could choose colors that would be a little bit more like not so freaking ugly, basically. And this was really cool because you have to remember too, when people give you criticism, it's hard for them. They don't want to hurt your feelings unless they're a bully, but most of the time they don't want to hurt your feelings. And so people can actually be a little sheepish and shy about telling you the truth. And I remember this teacher, I got that vibe from him. Like he like almost didn't want to say it. He was a little bit like, well, but it's like I wanted him to say it because number one, I want people to be comfortable telling me the actual truth. Because the truth, you know, the truth hurts, but the truth is all that we have. That's a song lyric that I've always liked. The truth helps us improve and evolve. And it's part of being honest. And when you're honest with people, that's basically what intimacy is in relationships, is that you have two people that are actually being honest, but also not wanting to hurt each other. Okay? And so that was what it was. I respected his opinion. I appreciated the fact that he was telling me the colors were freaking clashing, and it gave me the chance to realize that, like, okay, maybe that's a part of art that I haven't thought much about, that I need to learn more about color theory, that I need to improve the way I'm mixing paints so that I can get more harmonious colors, and that if I make it clash, it's like a choice and it's on purpose to create some kind of feeling. It's not just like, oops, that looks terrible. That wasn't intentional at all. So it really is a great process for improving, letting information in, but also not just being destroyed by some actual hater who's just out to tear people down. It's something that when you start evaluating it and analyzing it, it becomes really easy to see, oh yeah, that person just wants attention. Misery loves company. They're just a bully. And you know what? That's sad. Like, that's actually very sad. For example, someone in that class could have looked at that clashing painting and said, why are you even in art school? You suck. Okay, that'd be an example of like, that's not constructive, that's just mean. That's someone who wants to tear you down so that they feel better about themselves because they're like way down low to say something like that to someone. So that's not constructive, it's not helpful. You still, even in a hater message, you still want to evaluate if there's something there that you can use. It's kind of like going through the trash looking for like a recyclable can you can get 5 cents for. That's kind of what you can do with a message like that. There might be something you can use in there. And I like to ask follow-up questions personally, just because sometimes on the surface it can look like someone's being a hater, but they might actually have some good good constructive criticism buried in there that can be useful. Some people just suck at communication skills. They're not trying to be mean. Other people really just are mean, evil people. You have to distinguish that. So if someone says that's an ugly painting that sucks, I would want to ask, well, okay, well, why do you think it sucks? Like, what would you want to be different about it? And at that point, if they give me something constructive and they say, I hate the colors, well, I can at least work with that. Like, they don't like the colors. That's good to know. I'm going to file that away, that I might want to work on my colors. But if they just say, I just think everything about your art is ugly and I just hate it, then I'm going to at that point be like, okay, they're just being a hater. They're just being mean at this point. There's nothing constructive. Like, someone hating it is not something that I can use. I can't evaluate that and like use that in a constructive way. It's just an insult. Insults don't help if there's no like meat underneath them. So that's my process that I use, and obviously it's not something that overnight you're gonna just like magically do, but it's something that you can memorize and you can use it like in any situation, and it just makes it so much easier to separate out what is useful information and what is just a waste of your time. That like, man, that's sad that that person feels so bad about themselves to just want to tear someone down, but I'm not going to waste my time on that. But hey, I hope that they can like improve their mood somehow. Someday, maybe they can get into therapy or something, but it's not my problem. Versus, man, my colors are ugly and that sucks, but I want to make this better. So what can I do about this? I'm going to actually do some exercises. I'm going to mix up some paints. I'm going to go through and make sure the colors look a bit better. I'm going to read some books on color theory. I'm going to like practice this. Maybe I'm going to even go ask my teacher after class for like some tips on what he thinks I could do to improve this. Maybe I'm going to look at other artists. What colors did they use? You guys see how exciting that is? There are so many possibilities of ways that you can improve when you take your ego out. And you just become open to everything. You become open to actually developing yourself and becoming like what you're meant to become. Because every great person goes through a lot. They go through a lot of struggle. They go through a lot of education and self-education. And education includes moments of being like, oh man, this sucks. How can I fix this? That's how you get like your best education so that you can improve. So I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry my heater is like so loud. It's doing its hissing sound. It sounds like someone's making pancakes. It's like pancakes. I just went to brunch this morning and I did not get pancakes. I always get eggs because, I have this like weird diet where I don't eat carbs, but I still think pancakes are cute, and I'm always happy when other people get like pancakes, French toast, just because it kind of makes me happy to see baked goods. I don't know, baked goods are just cute. Okay guys, thanks for watching. If you do want life coaching, you can go to my website, yourdreamslifecoach.com. Fill out the contact form. Tell me the kind of coaching you want, whether it's like business coaching or relationship coaching or life purpose, or if you have a specific goal, let me know, and then I can let you know if my coaching style is like a good match for that. Make sure you include your email address though, because otherwise I can't email you rates if you don't give me your email address. So make sure to include your email address, yourdreamslifecoach.com, and thanks for watching guys. Good luck with your criticism, and feel free to comment below and let me know how you do with this topic, because it's always interesting to see other people's stories. Thanks, guys.